Welcome back to TalkNorth.com. Thank you for listening. If you can, please download before you listen. It helps our business. I'd also like to thank our producer, Brandon Morton, and let you know if you'd like to sponsor this program or any of the programs on the network, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com. We are live at Tin Shed, which is not unusual, but we are in a different part of the building. It's such a big place. We're in one of the ante rooms over by the bar, and we did it so Vicky could have a luxury suite. I mean, check it out.
She's actually sitting in the tin shed.
She actually is sitting in the tin shed. She reserved the tin shed. This is the Russo-Souhan Show. I'm Jim Souhan. We are live at Tin Shed in Savage. It is tinshedmn.com if you want to check out everything they have to offer. We'll tell you more about their business here in a little bit. Thanks to our producer, Brandon Morton. Please follow us on Twitter at TalkNorthPod. And this is kind of a Russo After Dark episode.
Yeah,
we're starting later than usual. We're starting at 7:30. I'm exhausted because I'm old and I go to bed at 8 o'clock every night. I'm going to try to stay awake for once during this show. Thanks to our sponsors, Twill in the Edina Galleria, FixologyRepair.com, Tony Hoagland, your State Farm agent in Champlin, BiteSquad.com, promo code TalkNorth, and, of course, Tin Shed itself. Brian from Tin Shed does do a drawing. He surprises us when he actually does the drawing, but you have to be here to register, and you have to be here to collect on the winnings. He gives away wild tickets periodically, so come on up and fill out a form if you haven't before, and if you haven't been here before, I highly recommend coming out. There are rewards for showing up. Let's start here. You cut your head in Buffalo?
No, I cut it at home the other night. The day I was putting a box in a dumpster. Yeah. Just cut open. But the
you made an athletic move, didn't you?
Yeah. But I didn't realize it until a couple of the Wild players asked if I got high sticked in the locker room yesterday. I forgot it was even there. But you mentioned being tired. I was driving down here. I couldn't figure out why I was so tired, and then it dawned on me. I woke up at 4 a.m. in Buffalo, and that's 8:30 in the morning, 8:30 p.m. Technically now for me. So it's been a long day, but I got a lot done, and team's playing well, so it's actually a little more fun to write about them lately. They've gotten points in 6 of the last 8 games, and really have been playing much better hockey the last month. You go back and you look at that game in St. Louis that they outplayed the Blues and should have won, and you look at the game in Dallas where they blew the 3-0 lead and should have won, and you look at the home game where they had the atrocious call that cost them, in my mind, the second point, and then really the Carolina game's another game where they should have gotten a point. So and then the one regulation loss in San Jose where they rallied back from 3-4 goal deficits and almost won that game. So they've actually played pretty well here. The last month they're trending in the right direction, and we'll see if they could keep it up against Nathan McKinnon on Thursday. And then the schedule doesn't ease up. They go on the road again to Boston, New York, and New Jersey.
That's all fine, but how do you cut your head putting something into a dumpster?
Bad aim.
So you threw it and it came back at you?
It was a gigantic box, and when I was lifting it, the bottom of it went crack. So I think that's how I did it. All I know is I looked in the mirror and there was blood. So,
well, I mean, it reminds me of the time I came over to your house right after you opened your house.
Yeah.
And what did you do? You sliced your finger open or something when it was?
That was when I was talking to Greenlay about coming over to hang pictures.
That's right.
And it was this gigantic thing that I bought at Michael's Art with glass, and I sent him a picture of this. I sent him a picture of the art, so he knew what he was dealing with. And then the second I sent him the picture, I dropped the thing all over the place and shattered the glass everywhere. And then I texted him back. I'm like, scratch that. That thing that I needed to hang can no longer be hung. Yeah, and then as I'm telling you this story, like 2 weeks later, I sliced my hand on the glass chip.
Now I remember. So it's hard to, we should do a spreadsheet of all your injuries just so we can keep up with them.
Oh man, that was
It's funny. I was talking to Cheryl Reeve on our show the other day, and she was flying back from Argentina, and I asked her for travel tips. She basically said just eat healthy and get some sleep. I don't do either of those things, so I'm looking. Someone like you, give me some travel tips. How do you get up? Because I've done that a million times, especially if it was on the baseball beat. You get up at 4 a.m. and you work until late at night, and I never really figured out how to do it and actually feel decent. Do you? Yeah, no. Do you have a methodology?
No, I don't. I mean, the one thing I think from a work productivity standpoint is I never think about my flight the next morning because then you are just not going to do you're not going to do a good job. You're going to rush to get out of there. I used to feel that way all the time when I used to do the write for the Star Tribune, the Gamer, and then I'd do that blog that off the top of the head blog, and a lot of times I would read it the next day and there'd be like 50 typos in there, and it was all because I was just trying to sprint out of the press box because I was tired of working. So that's the big thing. I mean, look, there's no way around it. Last night you get back to the hotel room at 1 a.m. You got to wake up at 4, and also I was sort of waiting to post the story after it was edited and published. So next thing you know, it's 2, and it's just not a good night's sleep. And then on the flight back today, I was writing a quarter mark story, so it's not like I got any sleep today. So you just deal with it and function and know that in the off season it's going to hopefully catch up, sleep-wise.
My thing is, or was, when I was on the, I still have occasional nights like that with Twins or Vikings on the road or whatever, and you cover a night game. My thing is, I know I'm not going to be able to get to sleep, so I actually don't rush because I know if I get back to the hotel at 12:30 or 1:30, 2:30, I'm not going to sleep anyway. Yeah, when I have to worry about an early wake-up call, I don't sleep.
Yeah, it's like that Niederreiter game in 14. You and I, we left the arena at like 2 a.m. after booking our flights for like 7 a.m. to Chicago, and it was like, well, you want to get a beer?
Exactly.
It's an unhealthy lifestyle. That's
good Lord, that was quite a sequence. Yeah. Hey, reminder, we are live at Tin Shed. It's tinshedmn.com on the internet, and they do birthdays. In fact, I have a bunch of birthday parties right next to where we are right now in the space we usually occupy. They host sports teams for parties. They have company holiday parties. They have big screen TVs everywhere. They have a bar. They have video games and pinball machines, everything else. They have jumbo pretzels, as well as all the stuff you would expect, and we've talked about before. Now they have jumbo pretzels, house-made pot pie, pasties, 2 new burgers. They have take and bake pizza fundraising, lots of stuff. And, of course, you can also find out information about this show if you go to tinshedmn.com. And they have a nice picture of Michael Russo on the website. What's up? So did Parise have a good game, or is this a continuation of a trend?
No, he's been playing well lately. Yeah. He had a great game. Yeah. That line was good with Koivu and Fiala. Mm-hmm. Fiala's been, arguably their best forward for a month. It was probably him and Foligno for a little bit, and then Foligno got hurt. But I thought Fiala was great last night.
Yeah.
And so that's a great sign. And then, Parise, we're just starting to see him play better. We're starting to see him play Zach Parise type games. And he's excited for his teammates when they score. And that's the Zach that we always remember, the guy that's just after a goal, you think it's his first goal in the NHL. That type of excitement. And so last night, a beautiful goal that he forces the turnover, a gritty goal where he gets a redirection. Stalock's thanking him after the game for blocking a shot with 10 seconds left in a 3-goal win. So we're seeing it was like the classic Zach Parise game. And then he broke his one stick that was the hot stick, and he wound up going to this Bauer stick that was not the hot stick that didn't have the curve he's used to. And how many times the rest of the game did we see him come just close to that hat trick, and he never was able to put it in. So that's a good sign. So we're starting to see him. He looks better. He's skating better. He seems happier. They're winning, which is part of the big reason. And a lot of it is, it really started in San Jose a couple weeks ago when the Wild came back to cut it to 6-5, and he made an incredible play to strip Erik Karlsson of the puck for a breakaway, and then gets in there and he just can't elevate the puck a couple times. And he was just beating himself up in the locker room. It was hard to watch, actually, in the locker room after the game. He couldn't talk to the media. He was so despondent. Because he felt so guilty for not scoring, and then the next day really held himself accountable, and And I thought he played really well in Arizona, even though he didn't get a point. I thought L.A., everybody looked tired. I think that had a lot to do with 2 days off, 3 off nights preceding that game in L.A., including a rookie dinner. That's one of those where it's like maybe you threw some money on L.A. and you'd be guaranteed to win. and then I thought he was great against Arizona at home, really good against Carolina at home, and then he continued in Buffalo. So a lot of guys are starting to play better hockey right now. I thought Zucker and Stahl looked much better last night. If they can just get Zuccarello going again, that'd be primo. The Geek Squad line has been really good for the most part. Eriksson, Cunnin, and Greenway. And then their fourth line, I still don't like Rask's game on most nights. I didn't think he played well in Buffalo yesterday. But I thought Donato was much better, but he's really struggling. He doesn't have a lot of strength and isn't the greatest skater, and it just hasn't worked so far for him. And, Hartman's been really good up front, and blue line yesterday, they were really good. Brodin's has been awesome. I'll be interested to see, if Dubnyk can't play against Colorado with his injury, what they're doing, because as of now, they haven't called up a defenseman. If it were me, I'd call up Belpedio Manel just so I don't change anything. What concerns me is that if Dubnyk can't play, almost certainly to get Sealer in the lineup, they're going to have to put Brodin on the right, I would think, over Soucy. And now all of a sudden you're taking a guy that's been playing his best hockey for 2 weeks and you're changing his position. It just seems like it'd be smarter to just kind of keep Sealer out of the lineup and go get a right shot D. Just even if it's for a game, and then Dubba goes and plays in Boston or New York.
You mentioned stick curvature. Now, Parise was a little bit off after breaking his favorite stick. Of course, I come from the world of baseball where players are incredibly particular about their equipment. In hockey, do players find a particular curvature or stick when they're young and stay with it their entire careers, or they're fiddling all the time?
They're fiddling all the time, but Parise takes it to the nth degree. The way Wes Walls used to be with his skates and his edges and things like that, that's the way he is with it. Parise is with his stick. Remember a couple of years ago, he was still using Easton sticks when they were technically no longer in existence.
I forgot that.
And this year, it's been, as a couple players have said, painful to watch. Suter took a swipe at him after the game that was very funny, saying that he finally settled on a stick and scored a couple goals. And then it's ironic because he finally went back to his Warrior stick, used his normal curve, then he breaks his last stick, and they has to go to use the Bauer at the end of the game. So we'll see now that they're back home if they've got a new batch of sticks for him and he can go back to the Warrior. But he's been changing his stick just nonstop. Probably driving the equipment guys crazy. But that's Zach. He's been trying to find the, when you're struggling, especially, you try to find stuff that works. And you just knew after the San Jose game where he didn't elevate that puck that he was going to be at it again, trying to find the right feel. A lot of it's just feel for these guys. It's like Tony DeCosta always says to me, that like Nino was this way, that if he used somebody else's stick and he would order that stick for Nino even before the game that he used it in, because he knew that invariably Nino would have scored that game, so he's going to need 10 of those sticks anyway. So these guys, they all use each other's. You should see them in the locker room. They're all looking at each other's stick racks and what they're doing. And I was watching Zuccarello's stick the other day on the stick rack, or looking at it, and the thing's as tall as him. It's crazy. But Zach is pretty finicky with it.
Thanks to Twill and the Edina Galleria. Scott Dayton has been supporting and working with this network for a long time and supporting this show for a long time. He's a great guy, just really laid back, nice staff, just a really relaxed shopping experience. Just take a walk through and, ask some questions, see if there's anything that would work. It's great stuff for Christmas gifts and gifts at any time. Hickey Freeman, Peter Millar Crown Shop, you know the deal. TwillMN.com. I'm here with my wife, Stacy. We went to Twill in the Edina Galleria the other day. We saw Scott Dayton, and I bought the nicest sport jacket I've ever owned, the most comfortable pants I've ever owned. They're Brax, a nice pair of loafers that I can wear to the ballpark. I think they're called Tracks. And I bought a bunch of Stenstrom short-sleeve shirts to go with my Stenstrom nice dress shirts. And, I used to wear just disposable clothes. Now when I buy something, I buy it at Twill. I know it's going to last me the rest of my life, and it's going to be comfortable.
And on top of that, it's not just the best stuff you've ever had, but it's really everyday things that you can wear and that will fit all occasions.
Twill in the Edina Galleria, TwillMN.com, Twill on Instagram. And we can take live questions anytime, too. We're set up with the mic over here. Just two things when you come up to ask a question. Kind of stand back over there so we don't get feedback, and then make sure the mic is right up against your chin so we can hear you